Have you ever been terrified of running out of something? When you're an alcoholic, one of your main anxieties, well, mine was running out of stock. By that I mean running out of alcohol. Because I needed it to even function at the lowest level. And my biggest fear was always not having enough stock, which made my anxiety worse. I'm going to give a few scenarios here. And it might sound ridiculous to a lot of you, but some of you have been in a similar position to me will be able to relate to it. Because when you've got a few cans indoors, you feel quite secure. But what happens if you're running a bit low and you've got nobody to deliver it? Well, I didn't know at the time you could get this company called Dial a Drink. Somebody put me onto it. And I would get to late at night and think, I've hardly got any left. And I'd bring Dial a Drink up. They used to bring slabs of beer, 24 cans in a slab. I used to drink Stella. I preferred bottles, but they didn't do bottles, just did slabs. And this is no word of a lie, I had 48 cases in the end of Stella Lager. And they used to bring it along, and we used to have to go to the van and get it. In the end, I couldn't go out. I felt so weak I couldn't walk properly. And so the guys used to bring it in. I used to just give them the check to sign because I couldn't steady my hand enough to write the check. And off they'd go, and they'd actually carry the beer in the kitchen for me. And I had so much stock, I could have started a bar. And when you run low on stock, I thought I was running low on stock with 48 cases. I thought, I can't do this. My anxiety level was to the point that I was losing my mind. And prior to that, sometimes I'd run out. I thought I'd run out, but I always used to hide a few bottles in some different places. And the relief you get when you find a few beers is incredible. Because you can't get out of the house. I couldn't leave the house until I had a few drinks. And even then it was a struggle, a real struggle to get out of the house. It's terrifying to know that you might not have enough stock. Because when I stopped suddenly drinking, I'd had seizures in the past. And I was always worried about seizures. So I was like a top-up drinker first before I went into active addiction. I remember one night specifically, I rang my sister up. I haven't seen her for years now, but that's a different story. I said, can you bring me some Stella in? I was really excited. I thought she was going to bring me a load of Stella. There are cans of beer in, I've got a supply for the night. And she brought me 4 small cans. She said, you're having no more. And that was horrendous for me. So I sort of sipped them all night, and I had 1 can left the next day. And I got a friend of mine to drop some more off. But though, I'll never forget that night when I got the 4 small cans. I thought, this is not going to last me. I'm going to die during the night. That's how bad I felt. And when I was drinking at that point, I wasn't drinking to get a buzz. I wasn't drinking to feel good. I was drinking to normalise my brain, to try and feel as if I wasn't going to pass away. I was that low and so weak and so thin and not eating and had no life and all the rest of it. And I think that's one of the most terrifying things I've ever had to do, is to worry about my stock level, of how much drink I had. I mean, nowadays it's a little bit different because you've got all these different companies who will deliver it to you. I'm talking about 20 odd years ago now when I did all this. But I had various other times when I had periods on the drink, off the drink. That particular time was when I had these 48 slabs of beer. I think it got sold off in the end, so I can't remember what happened to them. But my point being is, alcohol's a drug. The same as anything else, isn't it? There's no distinction between alcohol and drugs. It's still a drug. And unless you've got your supply, you don't feel secure. You feel secure when you've got a supply because you think that's going to keep you going. You think you're going to feel better the next day. You think things are going to improve, but nothing improves. And the terrifying thought of running out puts your anxiety at peak level. And when your anxiety is at that level, you can't do anything. I was too frightened to open the door, to open letters, to ring anybody, to take calls, to speak to anybody really. I was left in this cocoon of mess. My life was in tatters. And all I could concentrate on was, have I got enough drink? Will there be enough for me to get through the night? to get through the day, to get through the next hour. And even when I had all those slabs of beer, you know, I was still worried. That's not normal, is it? I'm not a stupid person. But it took away from me I couldn't rationalise anything. I had no common sense. It completely controlled my life. And if you speak to other people, alcoholics, they'll say the same. I've got a few of these, I've got a few of that. And if you ask somebody to deliver some beer and you're used to a certain strength, you know, I remember somebody, I said, can you get me 12 cans of beer? Expecting something a little bit stronger. And they bought something like, I can't remember what it was, Carling or something like that. Really weak. It didn't have any effect on me. So I'm panicking and think, God, I haven't got the right stuff. And it controls your life completely. And you can't think straight until you got your stock. And you feel a little bit better. And sometimes at night you wake up the next day and think, oh, I've drunk everything. And then you realise there's a load in the cupboard and you're all right. Because you don't sleep properly when you're drinking. You don't live properly, you don't eat properly, you don't do anything properly. You're just there for the alcohol. You're an active addiction, that's what you're in. It's going to be one of the worst drugs ever because it's available everywhere. And there are so many people affected by it. But just if you are an addict, like me, an alcoholic, just cast your mind back to how many times you've panicked about getting some more drinking just in case you run out. I remember one particular winter, I couldn't walk very well. Taxis were off, it was really bad snow. I hadn't graded any of the side roads. And for days I thought, I can't get the shops, will they deliver, will they deliver, will they deliver? And when the delivery van came, I was so relieved, you know, that they were there. It was like, wow, I'm saved, you know. Other people would just walk into the shop. I couldn't do that. I was always fearful of the ice. And the weather was against me, all this sort of thing. Will I be trapped in the flat forever? Will I ever get out of here? All these crazy thoughts came into my head. But as soon as I had enough stock, my brain would settle a bit. But the panic and the fury was quite extreme. Will I get enough for today? That's what you live for. Today. Not tomorrow, today. Will I have a little bit left for tomorrow? And it's really frightening to think of those days now. Now my head's clear, now I'm sober, and now my life's different. It's 1,000 times better. Going back to those days in my head still haunts me, you know. It really does. I don't know why I got to that stage. Well, I do because it's addiction, isn't it? I didn't start out when I was young thinking, I'm going to ruin my life through alcohol. Nobody does. Nobody I've ever come across anyway. So beware of the symptoms of alcohol addiction creeping up on you. You know, the fact that you feel rough, the fact you may want a hair of the dog, the fact you may be topping up drinking, all this sort of thing. Because it really is a killer. It's as simple as that. It's a big killer as well. And think about your life, think about your health, because your health is your wealth, isn't it? And, you know, get in touch with me. I do one-to-one mentoring and support. And it's proved very successful for a lot of people. I'll put a link in the description for that. And please get in touch, not just with me, but the other subscribers as well, because there's a lot of knowledge on here. If you benefit from the channel, then please subscribe and share it. If you want to get in touch with me, drop me a line. Speak soon.